Welcome back, my friends, to a wonderful recording of some geometry. Isn't that fun? We have here in front of us this number 7, and that looks like a mess. That looks like a lot of things to think about. But don't worry, don't let it get to you. Let's just start with what we know. And actually, what I'm thinking when I see this, I'm like, oh, A and B? I don't know how to solve a triangle with two unknowns. So that's probably not where I'm going to start. Probably not something I need to figure out. But I do know some things about like rectangles and stuff. So for example, if I drop down a height here, just pretend like it's a little bit more dotted, then I can make this into a rectangle. And the good thing that I know about rectangles is that opposite sides are equal. And I can figure out, for example, that this side right here is 4 from here to here. And the reason why that helps me is because if that whole bottom there is 10, then I know that this right here is 6. And if that's 6, this is a straight line, so that's a 90-degree angle, so that means that this is also a 90-degree angle. And that means that this is a right triangle here on the right side. That's a right triangle with a 6 and an unknown. But it's not. I have an expression for it. It's actually A. This is going to be the same thing as the other side because, again, it's the opposite side of a rectangle, and so those are equal. And that means I can use Pythagorean theorem to solve for the A now, right? I have the 6. I have an A. So what it means, well, one thing you can do is you can memorize your Pythagorean triples. And it's not a bad idea if you want to have some success. And so I'm not saying to memorize like a lot of them because there's infinitely many. But, some common ones would be good. So for example, 3, 4, 5 is a Pythagorean triple. 6, 8, 10 is a Pythagorean triple. And that's the one that we're dealing with right now. So I already know that the answer is 8, and I haven't even done this problem because I know the triples. And I'm just trying to show you that knowing the triples can help. It can help you speed up the problem and get things done. And this mouse is absolutely awful, so I apologize for the slowness of my writing. Makes me not want to write so much. Yeah, special shout out to my former students who tell me they watch these videos in their free time for no good reason, which I don't understand. I suppose as a sleep aid, it might work. It's probably not a bad idea. And there we go. So if we subtract 36 on both sides, then we get a squared is 64. And then we just square root 64, and we get that a is 8. That is super slow. That is unbearably slow. I think we got the idea. Okay, so a is 8. So if this right here is 8, then remember that this over here is 8 because it's also a, right? Here's 8. And the other side is also 8. And what is b then? Well, it's not going to be pretty. It's probably not going to be pretty. But I do know that 5 squared plus b squared equals 8 squared. Okay, so 5 squared plus b squared equals a squared. And so b squared is just 25. A squared is 64. And so we can subtract those from each other. I'm just going to write 64. I think it's going too slow. I think we get it. Okay, so subtract 25 on both sides. So that would be 39. So therefore, b squared is 39. And 39 is 3 times 13. So there's nothing we can really do here. So it's just the square root of 39 is the answer for b. So a is 8 and b is root 39. Nothing to simplify. I don't want it decimalized. I don't need it decimalized. Please don't decimalize that. There's no reason for it. Just tell me b is root 39. And that's it. Number 10 is next. Wow, that is really awful. Maybe I can just do it on the screen. Maybe that'd be easier. My finger is not as exact, but this is just awful. Whoop. Okay, so here we go. This looks like a little bit of trig. So we have an angle here. This angle right here, this is x. And we don't have the hypotenuse, which tells me tangent. That tells me that we're going to deal with tangent. So I have, oh yeah, that's a lot better. Tangent of x, or yeah, I guess they used x, equals opposite over adjacent, so that's 90 over 40. And so that means I can simplify that, so I'm just going to say tangent of x equals 9 over 4. Now what? Because I don't know what angle produces a tangent of 9 over 4. Well, inverse tangent. So we have to go like this. Inverse tangent of 9/4. And yes, that's a 9. There we go. And for that, I need my calculator. Anyone already do it? Inverse tangent of 9 over 4. 9 over 4 is also 2.25. Sometimes I like to do it in decimals. I just think it's like easier. Okay, my calculator says 66.037 blah, 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 blah. Let's just say 66 degrees. How about that? And that is our answer. A little bit of inverse tangent. Next up, number 13. And for this one, again, a little bit of trig. And this time I have the adjacent and the hypotenuse, right? So here's 35 degrees. And the adjacent side is 10. And I have the hypotenuse. I'm going to use cosine, which is adjacent, so ca, right? Adjacent over hypotenuse. So that means it's 10 over x. So let's write this all nice. Cosine of 35 degrees equals 10 over x. And so I use my calculator, so because I don't know what cosine of 35 is off the top of my head. Oh, it's one of those. Okay. And so my calculator says that it's 0.819 something something. What's that?
I thought it'd be x over 10
Ka. Okay, so cosine cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Right? And the adjacent side is 10, and the x is the hypotenuse. So that's why this is 10 over x, okay? The longest side is opposite the 90-degree angle. It's across from the 90-degree angle. So that's this side down here, this is your hypotenuse, because it's opposite this 90-degree angle. So that's why the relationship is 10 over x. And yes, I wish it were x over 10 because that would make the math easier. I don't like having the variable in the denominator, but unfortunately I can't wish it to be so. All right, so what does this mean? Well, I'm going to have to do some multiplying. So that means I have to multiply both sides by x, for example, and I have to divide both sides by 0.819. And after rearranging those things, I get x equals 10 divided by 0.819 blah, 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 blah. And again, I need a calculator for that. 19152. And it says it's about 12.2. And that's what I'm going to go with. This is about 12.2. And that's how you do that. Okay, I think that will work for me right now. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a good day.